Okay, so we've been talking about the 8 kinds of dukkha, of samsara, that are they're usually explained, especially in relationship to the human realm, although they apply to almost all beings. So we talked about not getting what we want and getting what we don't want. Those are the big themes of our life, aren't they? Yeah. And then, in addition to that, what forms the framework for our life, the bookends of what we call life in samsara, is birth, aging, sickness, and death. And it's these 4 that really set the Buddha out on search of a remedy, because no matter how rich you are, how famous you are, how much honor you receive, everybody is subject to these 4, and there's no way out. Yeah, and while we usually say birth is good, you know, and we're happy when a baby is born, birth is the cause for the aging, sickness, and death. So if you think about it, it's kind of peculiar that we celebrate the cause which brings aging, sickness, and death as a result, because as soon as you're born, those 3 are what happen, unless you die in the very next instant. Yeah. And even birth, you know, if on one hand we look at it as a happy occasion, on the other hand, it's definitely suffering. Yeah, they don't call it labor for no reason. Yeah, it's called labor for a very big reason, you know, because it's one of the biggest labors that there is giving birth to a child, for the mother and then also for the baby, you know. Well, our psychology usually sees you know, sitting in the fetal position as something really nice and pleasant for the baby. In the Buddhist texts, they say actually that the baby can feel very squished, you know, and unable to move. That's why it starts kicking, you know, at some points in the pregnancy. And then when it's going down the birth canal, then it's, you know, really getting squished because it's such a small opening. And then, of course, you know, when you're first born and come out, you know, we can't remember it, but I look at the situation, if you've ever been at a birth, and you can see that it must be incredibly confusing for the child, because it was in one environment, then it goes through the stage of getting squished and, you know, the muscles contracting or maybe getting pulled out with forceps or something. And then not only whacked on the bottom, you know, which you have to do to make sure the baby's breathing, but it must be so confusing to come out, and all the sensations in your body are completely different than the way they were in the womb, and having to breathe, and the sights and sounds, and, you know, the whole sensory thing must be quite a big shock to an infant when you think about it.